3,000 meters below the surface, the concept of day and night ceased to exist hours ago. Here, the water is not just a medium to swim through. It is a crushing physical weight, a pressure chamber exerting 10 atmospheres of force on every square inch of matter. It is cold enough to arrest the human heart in minutes. In this crushing, frozen void, something is hunting. A sperm whale, an animal the size of a commercial airliner, hangs in the blackness. Its biology has undergone a radical transformation. At the surface, its heart beats 60 times a minute. Now in the deep, it beats only 10 times. The body has shut down. The kidneys, the digestive system, everything non-essential has been depowered. The whale is a biological submarine running on emergency reserves, redirecting every molecule of oxygen to the brain and the muscles. It has been holding its breath for 40 minutes. And then it fires. It is a sound so violent it would rupture human eardrums instantly. A rapid-fire click, hammering through the dark like underwater gunfire. This is not a song. This is a weapon. Each click carries more acoustic energy than a jet engine at takeoff. The whale is not seeing with eyes, it is seeing with sound. It is building a high-fidelity, three-dimensional topographic map of the abyss. The sound waves blast out, tear through the water, and bounce back. And the echo reveals a shape. Something with arms longer than a bus. A body studded with suckers, ringed in razor-sharp hooks. The largest invertebrate on Earth. The giant squid. For most life on this planet, existence is defined by the sun. But sperm whales inhabit a vertical universe that we can scarcely comprehend. They spend 70% of their lives in a zone where humans cannot survive, a place where our most advanced submarines struggle to function. We study lions and wolves because we can't see them. But with sperm whales, we are left studying shadows. We study echoes. We study scars. They are the closest thing this planet has to a mythical monster. Not because they are terrifying, though they certainly can be, but because they are unknown. Even their sleep is a ghost story. Sometimes, in the open ocean, you will find them drifting vertically, entire pods of gray pillars suspended motionless in the water column. A sleeping forest of giants hovering in the silence. We do not know why they do this. We do not know how they navigate oceans the size of continents without landmarks. We are looking at an alien civilization that just happens to live on our own planet. To understand the sheer absurdity of this animal, you have to look at the engineering. Evolution has built a machine designed to violate the laws of physics. The massive blocky head, which makes up a third of its body length, is not just a face. It is a biological sonar cannon. Inside that skull sits the spermaceti organ, a tank filled with tons of liquid wax. When the whale generates a click, the sound travels through this wax, which focuses the noise like a glass lens focuses light, beaming it forward with terrifying precision. It hits 230 decibels. For context, the human pain threshold is around 120. This sound is powerful enough to heat the water it passes through. It is powerful enough that divers have reported feeling the sound wave pass through their bodies like a physical punch to the chest. But the engineering goes deeper. To survive the dive, the whale collapses its own lungs. It allows its ribcage to bend and fold under the crushing pressure. By collapsing the lungs, it prevents nitrogen from entering the bloodstream, avoiding the bends that kill human divers. Instead of carrying oxygen in air, it stores it in the flesh itself. Its muscles are packed with myoglobin, a protein that binds oxygen so densely that the meat of a sperm whale is almost black. It is a creature designed to operate where life should not exist. And yet, for centuries, we did not see the engineering. We only saw the monster. In the 1700s, sailors called them leviathans. They called them sea devils. Imagine standing on the wooden deck of a wind-powered ship in the middle of the Atlantic fog. Suddenly, a 15-meter head rises from the waves, exhaling a plume of mist that smells of digested squid and death. You would not think mammal. You would think nightmare. Ships would report loud, rhythmic hammering on their hulls from below, sounds that convinced crews they were being stalked by demons. It was just the whales communicating, but fear writes its own stories. This fear became reality in 1820. The whaling ship Essex, operating in the remote Pacific, was not just attacked, but systematically destroyed by a massive sperm whale. The animal rammed the ship, stove in the hull, and sank it. The survivors drifted for months, resorting to cannibalism to stay alive. This event haunted the world. It inspired Herman Melville to write Moby Dick. But the white whale wasn't a symbol of evil. It was a symbol of a force we couldn't control. A reminder that there were things in the deep that could reach up and break us. But humans are resourceful, and fear is often overcome by greed. We discovered that the very thing that made the whale a monster, the massive reservoir of oil in its head, was the perfect fuel. Spermaceti oil was liquid gold. It burned brighter and cleaner than anything nature provided. It did not freeze in the winter. It lubricated the gears of the Industrial Revolution. It lit the street lamps of London and New York. And so the slaughter began. Fleets of ships fanned out across the globe. We turned the ocean into a slaughterhouse. When a whale was harpooned, it would dive, dragging small boats behind it in a Nantucket sleigh ride, thrashing in agony until the water turned red. But here is the heartbreaking part. The whales tried to help each other. When one was struck, it would send out distress calls. The pod would not flee, they would gather. They formed Marguerite formations, heads in, tails out, surrounding the wounded, trying to protect them. It was a tactic that worked against sharks. But against men with exploding harpoons, it was suicide. We used their love against them. We wiped out entire families. We erased genetic lines that had existed for thousands of years. By the early 20th century, we had killed perhaps 1 million of them. We drove them to the very edge of oblivion. And then we stopped. The lights went out on the whaling industry, replaced by petroleum and electricity. The moratorium in 1986 came just in time. The guns fell silent, and in that silence, something miraculous happened.
A gentle rubbing of skin.
We entered the water not to kill, but to look. And what we found looked back. Divers who have shared the water with sperm whales describe an experience that borders on the spiritual. You are hanging in the blue, weightless, vulnerable. A shape emerges from the haze. The clicking starts. It scans you. You can feel it vibrating in your lungs, your teeth. The whale is creating a three-dimensional image of your insides. It knows your heart rate. It knows your bone density. It knows you are fragile. And despite the centuries of murder, despite the harpoons and the blood, they do not attack. They do not flee. They become curious. We have discovered that these animals possess brains 6 times larger than ours. They have the largest brain ever to exist on Earth. They possess the spindle neurons associated with compassion, grief, and social organization in humans. But they have had them for 15 million years longer than we have. They are not just smart, they are anciently smart. They live in complex matriarchal societies. Grandmothers lead the pods, passing down knowledge of migration routes and feeding grounds. And they talk. They speak in codas, rhythmic patterns of clicks that function like Morse code. But it is more complex than that. We have found that different clans have different dialects. A whale from the Caribbean sounds different from a whale in the Pacific. They have accents. They have culture. Young whales do not just know how to speak, they have to learn. They babble like human infants, mimicking the adults until they master the syntax of their tribe. Recent analysis using artificial intelligence suggests that their communication might have a grammar, a structure that allows for the transmission of complex abstract information. We are looking at a species that might be sharing stories, histories, perhaps even names. And their impact goes beyond culture. They are the gardeners of the ocean. When they dive, they feed in the nutrient-rich deep. When they surface, they release massive fecal plumes rich in iron. This fertilizes the surface water, causing blooms of phytoplankton. These plankton absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. A single sperm whale, through its biological processes, can capture as much carbon as thousands of trees. They are climate engineers, maintaining the breath of the planet. Even in death, they create worlds. When a sperm whale dies and sinks, it creates a whale fall. The carcass lands on the barren abyssal plain, becoming an oasis of energy. It can sustain an entire ecosystem of deep-sea creatures for decades. From the moment they are born to a century after they die, they are the lifeblood of the sea. We spent human history looking for monsters. We looked at the ocean and saw a resource to be extracted, a dragon to be slain. But the reality is far more humbling. We share this planet with a mind that has been swimming in the dark for eons. A mind that remembers the layout of ocean basins, that mourns its dead, that speaks in a code we are only just beginning to crack. We hunted them for oil to light our darkness, never realizing that the true brilliance was already swimming beneath the waves. They are the memory of the ocean. They are the giants who forgave us. And as we stand on the precipice of a new era, where we can finally listen to what they have been saying all along, we have to ask ourselves, are we ready to hear it? If you want to join us as we continue to explore the hidden corners of our reality, from the crushing depths of the ocean to the edges of the universe, click that subscribe button. The world is much stranger and much more beautiful than we have been led to believe.